Welcome, everybody. Another edition of Down and Dirty with the Badger State Tractor Pullers. My co-host and I, Greg Elsing, and we got the Super Farm Points champion again this year, Jason Viney, on board with us. So, welcome.
Yep. Thanks for having me.
Jason's kind of a neighbor. He only lives about 2.5 miles away from me, so he had this long drive. But if you cut across the field, it'd probably only be about 1.5 miles.
At the very most. Yeah.
So welcome. Thanks for coming over.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I know you had a busy fall.
Yep. Got done about 3 weeks ago picking corn, which was very odd being done November 1st. I don't ever remember being done picking corn November 1st.
A lot of people
usually we're trying to get done by Thanksgiving.
Yeah, if we're lucky. I mean, there's been many years that we're still picking corn on Thanksgiving or after even.
I think Greg's been picking corn the night before the banquet.
Yeah, we picked corn after the banquet already too. Yeah. So that's not good. Nobody likes that. That seems like it's everybody's goal when you're talking to them during the fall. Hey, I want to get done by the banquet. We got to be done for the banquet. And I think everybody's done now.
We're done picking corn, but we still got plenty of field work to do. But it is what it is. A little damp right now. Hopefully we can get more done before it freezes, but it is what it is.
We've got bedding to make too, so I don't think that's going to go very well the next few days.
Probably not.
Yep.
Yeah. You guys got chopper on your heads or no?
Chopping heads?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can turn them on and off, though. We turn them off on the land we want to make bedding on. Because otherwise, if you use the chopping head, there's nothing left after a couple rains.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, it's all moldy or breaking down already.
Oh.
Yep.
Yeah. Now it'll be a little wet.
Yeah. It'll be hard to get them dry now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So
how many acres you the family farm?
We're close to about 2, I think it is. Somewhere right around there. Corn, beans, and alfalfa and wheat and all that fun stuff. And we got about 75 cows or so, beef cows. Not milking, I can tell you that.
Greg loves milking cows.
I know.
Yeah, he
Right.
misses it so much.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
it's just Don and your Dan and you, right? Jason on the farm?
Yep, and then Ma helps too. I mean, she helps in the springtime. I mean, she's kind of our parts runner / seed runner and whatever else we need her to run for. And
breakfast,
lunch, dinner. You know?
Yeah.
So and then in the fall, she literally is the cart lady. Nobody else really even drops a load of corn anymore or beans because she's always the one that's in the cart, which is nice because then you don't need to worry about it.
Yeah.
So
and nobody can holler at her in the cart.
Yeah, except Dad, he tries, but she just might get mad and leave. So
right. Then the supper drives by him. He doesn't get any lunch or dinner or anything.
That's right.
That, right?
Yeah.
Never bite the hand that feeds you.
Yep.
She's also the peacemaker.
Yeah.
Right.
You
better make peace or Marilyn's going to put the hammer down.
No, goodness.
Yep. That's all fun.
I'll get mad at talking about her.
Yeah. We love you, Marilyn.
Right.
You're awesome.
Yep.
3 points championships in a row. Could you ever thunk?
Nope. I didn't even think I'd get one coming back. So it was one of them years again that, I mean, it was a tough road to hoe this year. I mean, I started out pretty good. And then all of a sudden I hit my little mid-season slump about 3 or 4 pulls into the year. And I pretty much fought that all summer the way it seemed. And I kept plugging away. I never faded away. And I think at one point Josh it was either a 24 or 26 points lead on me. And I'm like, well, I'm done, and it is what it is. So then you just go out and you have fun. And then I kind of got back into it again. And I'm like, well, how'd that happen? And then the last 2 polls of the year, I hadn't won. I think I won 4 polls last year, and then the last 2 polls of the year I won. So it don't make much sense, but I'll take it. So
it was a lot of fun coming into the last weekend. Viroqua Friday night, and then Monroe on Saturday. And the cards had to line up, and boy, all cranked up was spot on for both shows, and And it's tough. You know that in competition, you get into tough competition. And Josh Blackburn, it's like he's no slouch of a driver.
No,
And
Josh.
he can drive about anything, I think. And boy, he was fighting to hang on to it. And whatever changes they may have made or whatever, or hook position or pick the spot on the track or whatever gear, it just.
It was a fun year again this year. I mean, Josh and Lance and them guys, they got something working, and they were fighting it for about the last 2 years, and then this year they really buckled down and they got that thing running pretty good. And I mean, going into the last 2 pulls of the year, I think I was either 2 or 4 points out going into Viroqua, and I'm like, I hope I can just stay within reason so I can go into Monroe and actually have a chance. And I ended up winning there, like I said, and then I don't remember what happened with him. He just did not have a very good hook, and he ended up back quite a ways. And then I ended up taking the points lead in Viroqua, and then going into Monroe, I had it. And all I could say to myself was, "Don't screw up, don't screw up, don't do something stupid, don't get proud, don't just lay a nice run down, and hopefully it'll hold." And it did. I ended up having a really, really nice run, and I think I was about in the middle of the class that day. Probably should have let you drive again, but
No,
that's okay.
No, yeah, I didn't need that weight.
That's pulling though. I mean, you can handle it, but I don't know. It was a fun year. I mean, and like Trippin' Boys, I mean, he started out really good again this year, and he just fought problem after problem. It was like he could never catch a break, and I kept trying to, help him with anything I could, because I love competition. I want to win against the best that's on the track. I don't want to win with people that can't make the pull or they screw up.
He's watching you right there.
There's Tripper right there, standing next to Hollywood.
Oh, yeah. Putting the game plan together.
Yeah.
That must have been up to the charity bowl.
Yeah, that was that's not
No,
Baraboo. Yeah. And they just tripped. He fought it, and at the end of the year, we did some talking about some tire stuff, and we did a little bit of changing on them, and he said it seemed to help him, he thinks, and I hope it did. I mean,
you cut his tires too?
Yeah, I did some little bit of changing on him, and he said it seemed to help a little bit, but I don't know. It was right at the end of the year, and it's so hard to gauge anything at the end of the year usually the tracks get better at the end of the year too. They get, you get timely rains and fall in August, usually a little bit. And usually when you get that regular rain instead of man-made rain on tracks, it seems to help for power and
soaks in a lot more even and nice. It's not artificial.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I have a good time with all the guys that we pull with. I mean, I missed some guys like this summer. My pulling buddy from last year was Mitch, and I mean, last year when I started out, I said to him, the Fritz boys are going with my brother and Chuck. So guess what? You're coming to all of them with me. He goes, I don't think I'm going to make all the pulls. I said, yes, you are. And he did. He made all the pulls. And at the end of the year, he goes, Jason, I'm glad I did it because that was probably one of the most fun I had all summer pulling.
Yeah. Mitch Berg, good guy.
Yes, he is.
And I think it helps when you got a green one and a red one in the trailer, because then they both fight a little bit on the way there and back home in the trailer.
I'll fight with Mitch any day of the week. Don't mind me.
Makes for better competition.
Yep. Mitch he's a good dude. I'm glad that he's our class rep too, and I'm glad that he is. He's a quiet guy, but when there's something that needs to be said, he says it.
That's good. Nothing wrong with that. So if anybody watching here tonight has a question for Jason or something, bring it on up, and we'll definitely ask him.
Well, Brent Geek says hi. I just
Howdy.
seen on there. Brent Geek.
Brent.
Yep, he said hi. And then
Brent,
anybody got any dirty stories about Jason? We could hear them too. I mean, that's more fun.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're
any
TV
any
appropriate.
dirt.
Right, yeah. If they're not appropriate, then we better hold off.
Yeah, they got to be appropriate. Yep. I
Yeah.
just say got to have any dirt on Jason. That's what I. Yeah.
PG-13.
Yep. But
parental guidance.
what kind of tires did you run all summer, Jason? Whose tires?
I stuck with the whole shots.
You did?
I got my old whole shots that I've had on there since 21. This was the third year on them. and they're probably about time to kick them down the road. But it's really hard to kick a set of tires down that road when I have 3 points champions on them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't get rid of them until they start letting you down. It doesn't look like they're letting you down.
Yeah.
Well, I did a little tuning on them this summer too, and I mean, I don't know if it was a tuning or if I just got lucky at the end of the year with what I did with them, but I mean, I thought they were starting to, fall a little bit, and I was talking to Hawthorne on them. He goes, I really don't think they're giving up on you yet. Just keep trying some stuff, keep doing something different, keep working with them, and I did. I talked to him quite a bit about it, and I was, reluctant on doing what I did to him, and I did it, and it seemed to work. I mean, it was just one of them things that I maybe hit it right or got lucky, or maybe, like I said, maybe they still don't work and they're giving up, and I just got lucky at the end of the year sitting in the right spot. I mean, it's just one of them things.
Stacy Butson, tell us about your start and pulling.
Oh, boy. My start and
Stacy
pulling.
should just be on here.
He should be on here. Yeah,
He should be.
Little curb dog is sitting there on the sidelines.
Yeah.
I started tractor pulling when I was 13 years old. So this year would have been what, my 25th, 26th, something like that year of tractor pulling, and
Getting old.
yeah, I ain't young, but I ain't old though either. So I'm still living and kicking. That's all that matters. So, but I started when I was 13 on a 986, and I'd be lying if I said I won or got last. I don't even remember, because I was so happy that I got to go down the track on something, and it was honestly my favorite tractor at that time. I know it's a 986. Everybody hates the 86 series, but it was what I started with in the field. I chopped stalks with it, and I got to take it to town and go pulling. I was so happy to do that. It was unbelievable.
Where was it?
I think it was Utica.
Was it?
Because, that's about 5 miles away from home, too. So, real far away.
You had a pretty good window back then, because you go to Stoughton, Utica,
Deerfield
was close, and then Marshall if you got brave, and Brooklyn.
Edgerton.
Edgertucky.
Yeah. Edgertucky, yeah.
Well, we used to pull in Cottage Grove. Used to have a pull too.
That was quite a few years ago. I think early 90s and was about the last year of it. And then, 80s, it was still pretty big up there, but then they quit it, and I don't know why they ever did, and we've never heard of any talk ever trying to get anything at all back in there again. But yeah, Cottage Grove used to have one, and for a while, where was it that Dad said that they used to go and pull on Blacktop?
Oh.
I don't even remember where that was. You got all you guys. I think Greg was part of that too.
Yep.
You guys would turn the tires around and go pulling.
I remember Boston. Boston doing it. I'm not sure. There was a couple places. I can't remember them all, but I do remember Boston.
Okay. I guess that's big now. I guess that's really starting back up.
Still a lot of
Yeah.
northern Wisconsin, they pull mini rods on blacktop up north too.
Really?
Yeah, I won't ever put mine on that. Go ahead if you want to.
Yeah, I guess that's starting back up, and then, well, of course, the speed limit stuff. Which I love all that stuff. And the worst part about it is the farm stuff has really kind of fallen to the wayside, because kids like me at 13 years old, where do you start nowadays? I mean, it's either going out and spending a bunch of money on, what they call farm stuff, the speed limit stuff, but you're still spending quite a bit of money. There's no, unhook the tractor off the manure spreader and going to town no more. And it's sad, but it always makes its, rounds, and hopefully it'll start coming back again.
Stock appearing,
but hopefully stock. But
yeah. Jason Schultz, blacktop pulling is awesome. Just put slicks and let her rip.
Yeah.
He's got a tractor. He can do that.
Yeah, he can.
Antiques.
Yeah.
A couple of antique clubs I know still do not far from here. I think community antique guys do.
Okay.
They put oak planks in the bottom of their sled, and I think they turn the tires around. And
okay.
there's a couple places they pull.
I've never seen it. I'd like to see it, but I've never seen it before. But
yeah. Used to pull on blacktop. They did, and garden tractors did down to Mount Vernon. They used to have a festival down there years ago. I remember that.
That might be where we. Yep. But we went.
Big tractors then. Blair. Yep. Blair, where Jason says there. I know they pull mini rods up there in Blair on blacktop.
You don't need much track equipment and help when you do that.
Oh, you don't. And you can't yell at the scraper and the packer guy.
We pulled it. I remember the reason I remember Boston is because it was raining and the pull kept going. And I remember there's just so much tire smoke or whatever from the rain around you. You couldn't hardly see where you were going.
Really?
Yep. Heck, that was bad. Yeah. Yep. I didn't do it very often because I didn't like it much. It just didn't seem to take a lot of power.
No.
What kind of horsepower class was that? It was like, what was that?
It was a farm class back then. I was on an 806 with a turbo, and I don't know, whatever I had for horsepower. Never enough.
Yeah.
But that was pulling Link. I don't know if Link ever was at any of them with us or not. Or Punky. I don't remember them around. Yeah.
I wouldn't doubt it if he was there for the party.
Well,
Right.
Got a little Linkology on here tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Stacy
How long
wants to
did-
know how many years you ran Pro Farm.
We started in that in 2000. What was it? 2006. We had the one tractor. The one that my brother runs to crank it up. We ran that one. I think it was 2006 to 2007. And then we started. Yep. Then we started with mine in 7 and 8, or maybe no, it was 2000. I don't even remember. It was 4 years that we pulled Pro Farm, and then we had 2 years where we ran the one tractor, and then 4 years where we ran 2 tractors. And then we switched them over to Super Farm. I think it was 2010 season when we came to Super Farm. But I really enjoyed the Pro Farm class. I thought that was a lot of fun pulling that class, and I mean it was one of them things where it was either time to move on or just kind of really settle in there. And I mean we wanted like ProFab transmission and we wanted a computer on it just to watch them more. And we couldn't have that stuff at Pro Farm, which it is what it is. It's not a big deal. We wanted something different. It was time to move on. And that was really the only reason that we ever got out of that class.
And then later on, then what made you switch to this tin work that you got now?
Room under the hood. That was and I got sick of taking all the stock hood bolts out of the thing. I mean, just to put water in the tractor, I mean, would have been a 20-minute project. And now it's, you push a button and you're done and you're got it closed back up in about 3.
Yeah.
And it's just, I mean, the room under the hood is so nice. And it's just that, and I want something different. I mean, everybody either has, when in the red world, you either got a 66 or you got a new Magnum. And I didn't want the new Magnum, and everybody had 66, and I wanted something different. I've always liked boxcar Magnum, and that's what I went with. What I really wanted was 56 stuff, but then it's like, why would I put that on when I already had bigger tin work with a 66? So I kind of started. I went that way with the Magnum, and it was something different, and something new. But
the paint's different too, and it sets it off even more with the silver on it. It looks totally different.
Yeah,
it's one of a kind.
Yeah, it's different. I mean, it was kind of based off the internet or case made. It was like a 305 or 340 or something like that. It was like their 25th anniversary Magnum or tractor, and I kind of based it off that a little bit, but it was more or less just something different, something new, something that everybody else doesn't have. It was basically why I went with it. I mean, looking back now, I changed it a little bit, but I don't know. I like it. It's something different.
Yeah, looks nice. It's different. Who does your painting for you?
The guy that did that for us his name is Willie Osborne. He is from Marshall, Wisconsin, and he's one of them one of a kind type of guys. It's all airbrushed. There's no decals or nothing. I mean, it was all stenciled onto there, and he free-handed airbrushed all that stuff, and it turned out pretty good. He is one of them guys that he's got some wild stuff that he has done before, and it's pretty neat.
Does he still do it?
Yep, he still does it. I think he's probably getting close to about 60 years old.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't think he'll quit anytime soon, knowing him, because I don't know. All he does is go golfing or deer hunting. One of the two, so you gotta pay for that stuff somehow.
Colin, have to go light pro if you run 56. That's the rules.
Well, that's good that he's in that class.
Yeah, Colin's putting the hammer down.
Oh,
All cranked up. How'd you come up with the name?
Oh, you were part of the name. I mean, we were sitting at the local tavern one night, and we just got and we got just sitting talking, and I don't even. Why was it that we were even talking about? Because that was about a year prior to even building the thing. I don't even remember.
You guys are, you were working on it,
Yeah.
and you were trying to figure out a name, and I don't know, a bunch of people spit out a bunch of names, and then that song come on, Gretchen Wilson, all jacked up, and I looked at your mom and said, all cranked up, you know, you got crank it up, all cranked up, and she kind of tilted her head, I don't know. But I don't know, it must have stuck.
Yeah, well, Dad wanted to crank it up too, and I said, no way. Wanted something not different than the first one. And I mean, I don't mind the 2 thing. I mean, you got to put a little bit of a twist on it. And I mean, it's basically crank it up too. It's just a little different, you know? Yeah. I mean, like me and my brother, we're 2 totally different guys, and we like to be our own guy. And that's Dan's tractor, and this is my tractor. And, you know, I mean, we want to be affiliated with our own tractors. And like Dan, he's been pulling just as long as I have. I mean, he actually started, I think, when he was 15, because I think when I took the 986 over there, he took the 8920 over. And I think we started pulling that same year. And, I mean, it's just, you like to be different in the pulling world. Yeah. You don't want to be like everybody else, and you want something different, and that goes for all aspects, everything under the hood too. I mean, everybody's got their own little thing that, you know, might work for you and it ain't going to work for me. I mean, we've done that time and time again too with our 2 tractors. I mean, we get all of our stuff, our motor stuff from Robbie, and I mean, he's built 2 identical motors, and we'll take the same parts off my tractor and go to the dyno and stick them on Dan's, and it won't run. And we'll put them back on mine, and it'll be better than his. And then we'll put his on mine, and it'll mine run like a turd, but it runs great on his. It makes no sense. I mean, everything is the same when it comes to the motor, but there's something different about it, you know?
Yep. That's what Tom Gallup says the same thing about his 2 tractors.
Yeah.
You know, they're supposed to be identical, and they just never are.
Yep. I remember one year Tom said that he had Robbie do up 2 identical motors, and he went to the dyno, and whatever he did to the one, he said it was like 50 or 60 horseback from the other. He said he could not do anything, and it was still 50, 60 horseback. Everything that they changed, and turbos and pistons and everything. I mean, it didn't matter. He said it was always back.
If you know, you didn't try the turbos on. If you didn't try the turbos on both of them, I'd say it's the turbo, because that, you know, you can have 3 turbos on the shelf, and I've been to the dyno where there's 7 in Super Farm, there's 70 horse difference between the best and the worst one, and they're supposed to be identical.
Yep, I totally agree with you. I mean, we've done lots of playing on the dyno with that stuff, with turbos, and you can try it on one, and it might not work on the other, but it will work on the next. I mean, and that's the way it is. And sometimes you can have the identical turbo, and it could be now, you know, years ago it could have been a lot of horse, but now they're a lot machined, a lot closer and all that stuff. But you can still be 15, 20 horse different, and 15, 20 horse in our class is a lot.
Right, and then the same turbo that works good on a red tractor might not work on a green tractor.
That's right. Or an intercooled tractor versus a non-intercooled tractor.
Right.
I think that's the thing with technology nowadays. You know, you notice that even guys that come from WTPA or wherever, they're right there running with you guys with intercoolers. Them guys, are, you know, in the turbo world and the pumps have worked so hard to make the leaps and bounds. It's worked on both sides of the card, you know.
Yep.
Where now the super farms that don't have an intercooler, they're right there making that horsepower too. So.
Yeah, it's a different kind of horsepower though, because you get the intercooler, you know, you get a lot more lug at the end of the track versus non-intercooled. You know, I mean, they'll run it upstairs a lot higher,
yes,
and a lot harder, and then the guys with the intercooler run them lower and they'll lug them more at the end. Yeah. But I mean, it's the same power, but it's a different power band. Yeah. I mean, it's like taking a gas motor versus a diesel motor sometimes too, if you know, in that aspect. But
watching a lot of your videos that Ryan had up here, and I noticed your hole shots, consistent driving is huge, and you watch your tractor come off the starting line, and you're very smooth, and you see the tires start to set, wrinkle, and the front end comes up, and just hangs there, and the tractor just boom within the first 50 feet. Yep. You are really gaining speed, you know, like that run there. And then the tires, you know, stay consistent through there, through your run, that thing stays locked the whole time. So it says a lot about how you're cutting tires and you're driving. And I was just watching them even like this, where you see them closer. And this is a drier track that it doesn't have as much bite wherever this is at. Is that Beaver Dam? Maybe you're at the starting line there a little bit, but look at that thing set in. Look at it set in, stays. Look at the tires. About 3 wrinkles on her the whole way.
Yeah, I mean, the cutting tires thing, I mean, it's really shown the last few years. I mean, not just our class, in all classes. I mean, if you don't have a good set of tires and you have them figured out, you might as well stay home. Because if you don't have them things figured out, I mean, that's a huge part nowadays in tractor pulling is tires. I mean, the pro stock class is a prime example of if you don't have the right tires on, you might as well stay home, because it's if you don't have the METAS in that class, I mean, it's really hard to keep up. But then yet again, you got Greg, he goes up to Hillsboro and did what he did with his parks on. I mean, it's just, you got to have the right tire for the right track, and you got to have them figured out. You got to have the right air in them. I mean, you want them to wrinkle, you want them to get down, but yet again, you can't let them sag on their butt either.
Yeah,
I mean, then you're losing a bunch of draw bar.
You want, sag, and you want to suck the centers in either.
Yep. I mean, you gotta keep that center out. You gotta keep it flat, and I mean, there's a lot to tires, and when you get a good set of tires and you get them figured out, like I said, I know mine have been on for 3 years, and it's going to be hard to kick them down the road. But I mean, I got them figured out. I mean, I struggled with them a little bit this year, and I didn't know what to do, where to go with stuff, and that wasn't a good run there, a little bounce in there, but I mean, it's just one of them things. You got to keep digging, you got to keep working at it, because you got to figure something out.
Yeah.
So the biggest thing I've noticed in my tires, the more wear they get in, you change the air pressure. I'm not going to ask you what you had it at or where you're going to with it, but that's probably the thing that changes a little bit. When they they get broke in.
Yep. I mean, and when them centers start dropping them in them, you got to push that center out, but yet you still want them to wad though too. Especially in your guys' class, you got to lay that thing way out to get that as much on the ground as you can get. And that's where, like, the METAS, they really stretch out the front. They really balloon up when you come out of the hole. And them parks they're kind of the same way. They balloon a little bit, but not nearly as much as the METAS do. But them parks, they still do wad out the front. And by that wadding out the front, they might not be growing, but they're laying down. And by laying down, you're laying that point in, and you're still pulling it back.
You see your yours there, the wheel speed and how they're rounded. The point coming in, and then like you say, when it wads up, the tire's flattening out on the bottom.
Right.
So you see the wrinkles on there, like pulling fans. That's what they're looking for, is get that whole surface area working for you. If you got too much air, then you're picking the outsides up and the center's staying pushed out. If you got too little air, when they wrinkle, they'll really wrinkle. They'll suck the center in. So you got to find, the honey spot with the tire pressure to keep the point diving in when it hooks, and then it'll lay flat when it's working, and then come back around again.
Yep. And the hardest part about that is you can't see it.
Right.
You have to have a video. Video.
Video.
If you see a video from the side, it helps a lot. You can kind of see if it's wrinkling too much or not enough. You can watch it. But you could be off 0.2 of a pound or 0.3 on a track. You think it's a little harder track, maybe a little harder tire, and you missed it.
Yep.
That's what I see. But
Yep, I agree.
Yep.
Favorite track this year?
Favorite track this year? Well, I know following pro stocks at Monroe, it didn't really hurt me too bad, so I might have to say that one. For us, at the start of the class, it was pretty rough. But it finally got worked in about 5-6 into the class, and it benefited me, and that's probably why I did what I did down there. So I can't be mad about it, but yet again, it wasn't the greatest for us because pro stock guys, you pulled right before us and pounded the heck out of it. But that's pulling. That's pulling. What are you going to do about it? I mean, everybody's got to pull on it. And you either got to be sitting in the right spot or you're going to be last. I mean, there's nothing you're going to do about it. But I mean, it always goes back to Hillsborough for me. I mean, that place up there is Don and James. I can't give them enough credit, and all them track guys and all the continued track guys that keep going back to help up there. I mean, it's one of my favorite places to pull, and usually it's pretty good for us up there. I mean, there's only there's
track pull of the year with Pro Pulling League this year. Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
You're right back.
And they've won that quite a few times up there, so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Roger Kroshak, I think that's the name I seen on there. Yeah. What causes the bouncing down the track in Super Farm?
Not enough power, Greg.
That's what I was gonna think. I'm not gonna say it. You got right. You're lugging it a little too hard. Maybe the clutch might be giving up a little bit. And,
well, I mean, the biggest thing that I've always seen is when you get that bounce like that, it's from when you ain't got it balanced just perfect. And to balance a Super Farm just perfect, you and I both well know that it is really hard to balance a Super Farm so perfect that, I mean, you're either going to plant the front end or you're going to ride the wheelie bars. And I mean, it's so hard with a Super Farm to find that happy medium because we're in that, intermittent type of stage where, we got enough power, but yet we don't have enough power to carry the front end. And that's, I mean, and once you first get that first bob in there, that's when you get your bounce. That's what I've always thought. But
so once you find that happy weight, what's the most weight you've ever taken off the front, maybe put in the middle or in the back through the summer?
Well, it all depends on the track and all depends on the boat. I mean, there's been times you'll go from one pull. I think last year I don't even remember what up front, but I went to the next pull and I think I moved 400 pounds back before I even went across the scale because I knew what the track was going to be. And I know where I got to, I mean, I've been doing it long enough where I can pretty much set my tractor up before I even get to the track. And I mean, I just knew that I was supposed to move it back. I moved 400 pounds back and Dad goes, you're nuts. What are you doing? I said, I know where it's got to be. And he goes, you can't. There's no way you can move 400 pounds back. And after I ran, I said, I wish I would have moved another 100 back. And he goes, yeah, I know, you're right. I mean, it's just, it's one of them. I mean, moving 500 pounds on a tractor, on a pulling tractor, that's nuts.
It's a lot of weight. Yeah.
Yep.
A lot of weight.
Yeah.
And it changes, like even from front to back, you move, 100 pounds is like moving 150 pounds.
Yep.
When you put them on the scale. And
and that's
huge.
And that's what a lot of people don't realize either. Every sled pulls different. So how you're going to weight it and gear it is you look at some sleds, it's more so, and I think it's Super Farm and like Limited Pro than Pro Stock, but I really think your gearing on some sleds is different. It's Super Farm is less forgiving. The more horsepower you get up, I think it's more forgiving.
Yeah, because you're spinning them harder and you let everything catch up and. Yeah, I agree. I mean, even like the 466 and light limited guys, I mean, they can at times too move quite a bit of weight. I mean, it's just it's every track you get on. You get on a dry track and you got to move weight back, or you get on a good pulling boat, or a good pulling track, but the boat's not as good. Where you don't usually have as much front end weight, and it's kind of one of them things. Well, where do you go from here? And it's just there's a lot to set up that a lot of people don't understand. They sit in the stands. I mean, pullers get it. And I mean, there's quite a few people in the stands that know what's going on with all that stuff too, but there's a lot to it, especially when it comes to boats and tracks and, where are you going? I mean, there's been many times that we go to a new pull or an old pull and there's a new boat there. And it's like, oh man, where do we go from here? I've never pulled on this boat, and you try to find somebody that's pulled on that boat before and get a little cheating information about what you should be doing with setup and stuff like that when you've never pulled on it. But it's fun. That's the name of the game too. It's adapting to it, and so.
Do you keep notes from one event to the next year to know what you did?
I do. I got a little notebook, and I usually write everything down from, tire pressure to where I put my weights and the boat and stuff like that. I don't know if it helps me because once you get going during the summer, I mean, you kind of know where your stuff's got to be and you kind of play it pull to pull. But yet again, it's always nice to have that in the back of your mind that you can always look back at something and give you a little, pat on the back saying it's okay, you can do this type of thing. But
yep. I used to keep that, and then all of a sudden, last year you went 310 here, right? And this year you're going 340. Well, that changes everything.
Wow.
Yeah. Last year it rained the night before, and you got an inch and a half of rain, and this year it ain't rained in 2 weeks.
Yep.
So it's
right.
You're rolling the dice, but
Yep.
you gotta be one with the tractor machine.
Yep.
Derek, Mike, congratulations on your win.
Yep. Thank you, Derek. See you in our class next year, hopefully.
Ooh, let the cat out of the bag.
I hope so. I've been trying to push him and his dad for the last couple, 2, 3, 4 years to come and pull with us. And
Well, you won't have to worry about that because I think the rest of the Super Farm guys have been putting the old hat out, put money in it, see if they can get you to jump up.
No, I ain't going nowhere. I like my class. I've always really liked Super Farm. It's always been a fun place to pull. I mean, years ago, when we used to pull against you, Greg, it was, I know you were kicking our butts at the time until you left and went to Limited Pro, but I had more fun coming up there and pulling with you guys and Punky and Larry Wolf. There's another one that I wish he would have never sold his tractor, would have kept pulling because, he's a character. He's a riot. He's so much fun. It's just, I love the guys that are in our class, and I'm not cutting anybody down in our class as of now. Like Tanner and Mike Jelly. Mitch Berg and the Fritz boys. All them guys. They're so much fun to be around. Tripp and Josh. All them guys. Paul. It's fun. Everybody that we pull with is fun. You show up to the pull and you actually get excited to talk to the people,
Well, Greg Hughes is trying to keep up with Baru all the time. So.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. Well, Randy, that's right. Yeah.
Right. He always cheated.
Randy Baru.
Yeah.
Any thought of chasing a champion tour title?
I did that for 6 years, and that was enough for me.
The last year you got second in points, didn't you?
Yep. I
knocking on the door.
Yep. There was quite a few years that I did. I did very well on the tour. I had, I think, 2 seconds, and I think I had 2 thirds and a 4th and a 5th, I think, is what I had when I ran. And I loved all them guys too. Them tour guys, it was a different atmosphere. It was, when it was pull time, it was pull time. You talked to everybody, you still got along, but when it was pull time, you were there to win. It was competition, and you had 15, 16 tractors that you're pulling against all the time. It was fun.
All over the country.
Yep.
Back then you had to drive to South Carolina, was it, in New York?
North Carolina.
Or North Carolina?
Yep. New York, Kentucky.
20 hours down there.
Yep. I think that North Carolina run, I think that was really our longest one, and I think it was 16 or 18 hours, I think, one way.
Yeah.
And it's just too much. My brother and Chuck, they really enjoy it. They really enjoy going on the tour, and they can have it. If they want to run it, they can have it. It's what they like to do. And like Chuck says, it's my vacation. Yeah. It's what I choose to do on vacation, and I agree. If that's what you want to do for your vacation, which it's basically what I do for my vacation, it's just around here. But I love the tour, guys. It was fun when I did it, and I'm glad that I'm home now. That's all I can say.
Even where you're at.
Yeah, your kids are younger than Dan's kids, though, right?
Yeah.
And how old are your kids?
My kids are 5, 7, and 9. And
right.
It's really hard to go across the countryside and be gone from them for 3, 4, 5 days at a time. And, it's hard. And that was one of the main reasons why I came back. But yet again, I came back because I really enjoy Badger State. Even when we were running the tour, it wasn't very often that I missed a Badger State pull. If we could make it to a Badger pull, I was there. And I don't like missing Badger pulls. I never have. I remember that first year that we went on the tour, I had a really hard time I can't remember what pull it was, but I missed the first Badger State pull that I could have, or was supposed to be at. Instead, I was at North Carolina or Kentucky or something like that. I had a really hard time with that because I had never missed a Badger State pull. I mean, and I did not like that feeling that I wasn't going to be at home pulling.
But now you're, even where you live, where we live, you're only 2 hours away, basically,
Yep.
from wherever pull you go to. You know, 2 hours, maybe furthest one, Monticello, Iowa.
Well, we're not even there now. We weren't there last year, were we, Greg?
Dubuque.
In Monticello?
I don't think so.
Oh, we didn't go to Iowa last year. We didn't.
Oh.
But
I don't think you were.
No.
Hillsboro and
Hillsboro.
Macville.
But that ain't
probably. Yeah.
That's only about an hour and 45.
In Milledgeville, you're not there, are you?
Nope, not in Milledgeville.
That's my farthest one.
Okay. I mean, we're pretty lucky with, like us and Punky, we live literally on a state highway. And we get out on the road and we're, sometimes you get on that road and you go straight to a pull. Like when we go to Jefferson, it's 20 miles away, but we get on 12 and 18 and you pull off of, 18 into Jefferson there and you go right to the pull.
Yeah. Well, there's a reason we have all our meetings in Norris because it's central for everybody. And what, that half mile down the road from you?
Yeah, about a mile.
About a mile? All right.
Yeah.
All right.
A mile. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, fans, so you know that the Score Farm and the Viney Farm are neighbors. They farm right next to each other on 12 and 18.
There's not even a house in between anymore.
No.
And no fence line either. Punky said he was taking fence lines out.
Yep. We got one more to go.
One more to go? Yep.
One more to go.
Then they're gone.
Yeah.
That's my favorite thing to do is take them out so I have to deal with the weeds and the trees growing in them.
Yep, ours too. Our biggest thing too, like with the fence line, the one that's left there, it's on a hill. And, Dad kind of has been fighting me on taking it out. And he goes, well, I don't want it to wash. It's like, yeah, but if we didn't have to have end rows and you just put a little waterway in between us, have a 20-foot waterway, you just plant straight into the waterway and you don't even have end rows. And then you have no washing. So.
Yep. Just mow it once in a while.
All I know is corn don't grow under trees. So.
Nope. And it's hard on combines.
Yes, it is.
It scratches them.
Yep.
Yep, scratches them.
Yep.
Who would you like to thank as we're getting closer and closer to the witching hour here? This goes by so fast.
Yes, it does.
Who would you like to thank, whether it be people, friends, family, people who do work on the tractor or parts that you get from fuel, so on and so forth. Who you want to thank?
Well, first off, Badger State. You guys, you've always been here ever since I grew up. I always used to look up to everybody that used to pull. It was a awesome thing to do to get in the truck and go to a tractor pull. The support that Badger State has from the fans and the pullers themselves and the board members. Greg, how long have you been a board member? It's great. It's an awesome feeling.
Right.
So
John, you can use all your fingers and toes and pull your pants down, and you're still not going to have enough.
Well, can he use my toes then instead of pulling his pants down?
His toes are probably longer.
But
unbelievable.
Badger State and the guys that run it. All the tech officials that. All the bull crap sometimes that you guys got to put up with, and it's so enjoyable to come and pull at Badger State. And like with you, John, with you announcing, you go to a tractor pull and Stacy, you guys have been the announcers for years. And everybody just knows your voice as soon as you guys come on. And sorry to say, but like when you and Stacy start talking once in a while, I get to a pull and be like, well, is that Stacy or is that John? It'll take me just a second, but I'll figure it out. But you guys do sound over the loudspeaker, sound the same.
Don't try. Just show us how good Stacy.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But other than that, like my parents, I can't thank them anymore because it's their tractors. Me and my brother, we work on them and we put our heart and soul into. All of us do. we have taken nothing but the utmost pride into them things, and to go down the track, it makes me proud to make my dad smile. You know, I mean, and I know my brother feels the same way probably about, you know, when you do good, you smile. And to see that smile on my mom and dad's face when we do well, it's worth it. It's fun. And, you know, like with my kids, right now they're 5, 7, and 9, but I can't wait for that day until one of the three at least hopefully starts driving it so I can kind of quit and back away, and then maybe I can smile a little bit. But
we got some small ones in the metal building over here.
No, we don't. No. Those are yours.
We can paint red, and you know, you can.
No. That's okay.
We can get them early, going early. You know, that's kind of how it'd be very good. You know.
My parents, my family, my brother too. I mean, he's always been there. We work good as a team, and like with Chuck, I mean, he's no different than my brother. I mean, I look at both of them guys as my brother. I mean, my brother is my brother. He'll always be my brother. We work great together. We've always worked great together. But with Chuck too, I mean, he's like one of the family too. And I mean, all of us, we work so well together. We talk notes and we talk about what we should do, where we should go, what gear we should run. I mean, where you're hooking and all that stuff. And all of us, we get along so well. And it's so hard to thank people like that you come accustomed to it when you show up to a pull that you got that help. I mean, it is what it is. And you don't think about it as much as you really should, but you really need to thank them people when you do well. And I try to. It's hard to do because when you get back in the truck with the person that you showed up with, it's hard to thank, you know? You never think about it, you know? It's just, you're there together and you leave together and you're all together. It's one, I mean,
group. Yeah.
Yep. I mean, like with me and my brother, I know we got 2 different tractors, but he knows when he does well and he knows my congratulations and I know his. I mean, it's just one of them things.
Yep.
But other than that, I mean, like Mark Hawthorne, I mean, he has completely changed our tire game for us. I mean, he has been nothing but great to us and worked with us for the last, since I think 21 is when I put my whole shots on. I got them from him, and then it works great. I mean, Mark he's a very smart guy, and I mean, you ask him a dumb question, he goes, well, it's not really a dumb question because I get that question all the time, and it's not, because there's a lot to that question, and
he learned everything from Heidi.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mark, if you're watching, Heidi.
But I mean, Mark, he's been great to us. Mark, I don't even Hawthorne Tire Cutting, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Hawthorne.
Sorry, Mark, if you're watching.
Oh no, don't apologize to him. It's okay. Yeah.
But
get your digs in on him when you can.
Yeah. And then Robbie and Troy and Esden, them guys, and Bob. I mean, all them guys down there. I mean, every time that we have ever needed anything, small or big or anything, you just give him a call or you show up at his door and okay. I mean, like last year or this year, it was last year when I burnt my motor down. And I burnt it down at Edgerton. I knew it was hurt at Edgerton. And I called him and I said, can I get parts? He says, no. I said, okay. He goes, well, I can maybe after Jefferson. I said, okay. So I kind of limped her through Jefferson and I ended up burning it. And I texted him that night. And it was about 10 o'clock that night. He didn't answer, and he texted me back. I think it was about 4 o'clock in the morning. He goes, get your parts down here. Let me know what you need. I'll get you going. And he had me going, and we had a pull in Baraboo on Friday night. And so we burned it down on a Wednesday and had it going by 3 o'clock on Friday afternoon to load it on the trailer. And to do that, there is no way that we would have ever done it with anybody else. I mean, to have to travel and get parts someplace like that. I mean, to do what Robbie did and then put it back together right, too. It wasn't just put back together for a pull. It was put back together, and I ran the entire season like that because I didn't need to pull it back apart. I had all the right parts back in it. And Robbie and them guys, I can't give any more thanks to them because, they were our first motor back in 2005 or whatever it was when we started Pro Farm, and they're great at what they do.
Drag racing guy called that a tune-up.
Yeah, tune-up. It was a tune-up.
Yep. So tune-up.
Just a mid-season tune-up, unexpected. But it is what it is. So
tune-up.
Yeah. And then I burned it down again this year at Jefferson again, and I called him. Yep, I'll get your parts. All right, okay. So I did, and got her back together, got pulling again, and haven't touched it since. But and then Mark Culver, we get our turbos from him, and he's been great to work with. I mean, I can't ask for anything better from Mark. I mean, he's a smart dude too. He's probably a little bit too smart for his own good sometimes, but he's been great with us to work with. I mean, every time that we've ever had a problem, yep, bring it down, I'll get it fixed, or nope, you can do that yourself. Just come get the parts. I mean, Mark's been great to work with, and I mean, our pump stuff like that. I mean, we get all that stuff from Dustin and Brandon Hart. I mean, and we've been doing business with them for a long, long time too. And I mean, they're great to work with too.
Takes, it's just amazing how much piecemeal from different performance people that, you put together to make the combination, and other people doing combinations like that too, either, Weimer or Hartz or whatever, or whoever, putting their stuff together. And that's kind of the fun part too. It's not just a straightforward setup that everybody has or whatever. It's different.
Right. And it's not like, that's been suggested to go buy box turbos and box pumps, even box tires now. But that takes the, I heard that this weekend. We need box tires. Everybody have the same ones. That don't work.
No.
It's nice to support who you want. It's America. Buy where you want.
Exactly. I mean, my whole thing about it though too is sometimes it ain't even so much the box stuff that you go and buy from somebody else, because we have all made parts for our own tractors that, I mean, I made parts for my tractor that have literally been on there for 10 years. I mean, I made them. I mean, how do you box something like that, when it's homemade? I mean, you found something that works and you got that little bit of an edge. I mean, it might not be an edge, but I mean, if it works better than what you had, I mean, how do you got to take that little advantage when you can get it.
The combination that you're running is, I mean, it's working for you. So it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah. Well, I might need to fix it someday. So,
but everybody, upgrades and, turbos and pumps and everything else, technology, even piston stuff and whatever. So,
it's an evolving door. Everybody always has the next great thing, and it's usually in the wintertime when stuff comes out new, and you got to try it on the dyno, and sometimes it works, you hit it big, and sometimes you don't. And I mean, that's the whole thing about it though too, is just because you're getting it doesn't mean that you're not getting it, and Greg's not getting it, and everybody else in the same class ain't getting it. I mean, just because one's getting it, that manufacturer's going to want to sell them as many as they can of whatever it is that they can sell. And
the other thing too is, the combination. Greg, this too. I could buy your tractor and run it next year and not win a points championship and go, what is the deal?
Or even a pole.
What's the deal? What's going on with that? It's how you use that whole setup and that combination and driving and the luck of the hook draw, and then how you drive it, the gear you chose. There's so many variables in there, that it's it's hard. You can't duplicate it. And you can buy a points championship tractor, but
never win points again.
Never win points again. You never know.
You see that happen all the time. The guy sells it, he was a points champion, and you never see that tractor again in the front of the pack. There's a reason for that.
I mean, there's a lot to a combination, and if the right person's not sitting on that combination, I mean, you could be, like in our class, you could be 50, 75 horse back from somebody else that's got way more than you, but you might beat them every week. But it's the guy that's sitting on the tractor, making the setup, making the adjustments, knowing where to go, knowing where to set the boat, knowing how to read the boat. I mean, there's so many things that go into everything that you just got to hit it.
Yeah. And getting it to the ground is the biggest thing. You can make all the horsepower in the world, but if you can't hook it up.
Don't do you much good.
So it's, that's the art of it. It's like stock car racing. It's like drag racing. It's like any other motorsports that you're into or whoever's into, and you can't buy experience.
No.
Every time you drive it, make a pass, you get better and better, and you get, you're comfortable with it. You could jump to your brother's tractor, you took a switch, And as soon as you jump on his, now you're kind of out of your element together.
Yeah.
So
So
now, you already know what to look for. You already know what it's going to kind of do. But, how far before this clutch starts coming out? What is it?
yep.
Oh, there it is, So,
Yep. You get a feel for your own stuff, and sometimes, I mean, like with me, I think I'm an odd duck. That I think you are too.
I am.
That
That guy is an odd duck right there.
I mean,
That guy.
yeah, Greg.
He's an odd duck.
You're pointing the wrong way.
Oh, I'm pointing the right
Yep.
way.
Right.
That guy right there.
So,
That guy. That guy.
Right.
I mean, some guys they can get on stuff and they're just comfortable. They don't worry about the little things, and I mean they can see the big picture of what stuff's going on. They don't get nervous. They don't get rattled. I mean, you tell them what to do. All right, yep, and they're fine. I mean, like when I set you on my tractor at Monroe last year, you were more worried about it than I was. I mean, I wasn't worried at all. It was just one of them things that I finally get to see my tractor go down the track because nobody else has driven that tractor down the track except for my brother. I mean, that's it. I mean, and when he did it, it was because I wasn't there. And it's just, you have confidence in certain people that can do the job.
And you set it up. So you know the tractor. I mean, you set it all up.
Yep.
I just had to
I told you.
Yeah, I just had to follow your lead and
Yep.
get it hooked and get it licked and
Yep.
get it hooked and get it down there.
Yeah, but you got that feel.
Yeah.
You know the main feel of sitting on something like that, and it's not hard when you know what you're doing. And some people can do it, some people just can't.
It's driving by the seat of your pants.
Yep.
Yeah. But it's fun though, and the fun part about driving something different, especially for me, is when I haven't drove something like that, is that you concentrate twice as hard.
Yep.
Now you're all in focused.
Yep.
To do it, especially the very first time you ever.
Yeah, do it. Sit on something different.
Something different, yeah.
There's a lot to being said about being focused. Because I can get my butt chewed like 1 minute before I'm pulling, and all I'm thinking about is that guy that was chewing my butt and not what I should be doing. And I do bad every one of them times.
Yeah.
Or if you got something that goes wrong, you're ready to go, you got a game plan set, then all of a sudden it won't start. What in the world?
Yeah.
And then, okay, we get it running, you get your helmet on, all right, let's go. Well, now it's just.
Then you don't even think, you just go out and do it.
You're just going through the motions then, because now you rattled off the main game plan, and you can't focus, like you were
supposed to
begin with,
Yep.
Like, what the hell was that? What the hell was that? What are we gonna fix? And yeah, it's true. You got to be focused. You got to be all in when it comes time to throw the green flag.
When it's time to sit on that seat, if you're not paying attention to what you're doing, you might as well not do it.
Yeah,
and if you got a driver or somebody on the seat that knows what they're doing at all times, I mean, that's a safety concern too. Sometimes where they're, it's their first time driving or whatever, and they get so many people telling them what to do, and that's sometimes the worst possible thing you can do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's better off just to listen to one person and that one person alone, especially the guy that owns it or drives it. I mean, that's the person that you should be listening to, and nobody else.
And especially that day, you set it up. This is yours.
Yep.
I had all confidence in the world of what you were doing. I just had to listen carefully to execute it.
Yep.
Or like my tractor too, same thing is once I got the gut feeling of this is what I need to do, stick with it.
Yep.
Stick with that gut feeling.
You go with it.
Yeah. Last minute huge change, you're like, shouldn't have did that.
Yep.
And most of the time it never works out for the better. Sometimes it works. Well, 1 out of 10 that it does, it seems, but.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
we're right at the end of our witching hour here, so congratulations on the points championship again. It's always fun having you on with us, and glad to see you guys all the weeks and all summer, pulling, and the banquet coming up, always a great time, and congratulations again. It says a lot about you and the family and the whole program, and I know we love at Badger State having you there, so congratulations. We'd like to thank Front Street Toys, Casper Egg, Salama Enterprises for helping us out. And congratulations to Don Salama and everybody at the Hillsborough Charity Tractor Pull of the Year again with PPL and I'm blessed that I get to be just a little teensy part of that with Stacy and Dan Mayer and that whole crew. That's pretty awesome
Yes, it
to
is.
see that up there. Badger State, affiliated with that as well. So
right.
thank you everybody for watching, and thanks again, Jason. Greg, anything last efforts?
No, I've got a meeting to go in right after this. We're picking the award for the school. What do you call it? The
Scholarship.
scholarship award. Yeah, next, right after I'm done with this one. So I got it.
Stick with us, kid. We'll take you places.
We'll get you there. Yep. So all right.
Thanks
Thanks for everybody watching.
Yep.
Thank
Thanks
you.
everybody. Have a good
Yep.
night.
See you later.